In the dark and desolate corners of Texas, a chilling series of disappearances and murders unfolded, leaving investigators baffled and the public terrified. At the center of this twisted tale was William Reese, a man whose seemingly unremarkable life hid a terrifying pattern of violence. What started with the abduction of a young woman in broad daylight spiraled into a nightmare spanning several years, involving multiple victims and a trail of secrets buried in the Texas soil. But it wasn't until one survivor's courage and a single confession that the horrifying truth began to unravel. Was William Reese a predator who had been lurking in plain sight, or was he a calculating monster with a disturbing taste for control and manipulation? The answers would shock the world and leave an indelible mark on those who sought justice for the lives he destroyed. On the morning of April 3rd, 1997, 12-year-old Laura Smither went out for a run and never returned. Thousands of volunteers scoured the swamps and fields surrounding Laura's home in Friendswood, Texas, but found nothing. 17 days later, Laura's body was discovered by a father and son walking their dog in a pond more than 12 miles from her home. Because the body had been submerged in water for weeks, the exact cause of death was difficult to determine. Investigators also could not be certain whether she had been sexually assaulted. Nevertheless, a suspect quickly emerged in the police investigation: William Reese. He had been convicted of 2 rapes in Oklahoma and served a 10-year sentence before being released 6 months prior. At the time of Laura's disappearance, William was working as a bulldozer operator at a construction site in Friendswood. On the day Laura went missing, he was off work at 9 a.m. due to rain, and his route coincided with Laura's running path. Police searched William's truck and found a carpet fiber that matched the fibers found on Laura's socks. The fibers were unusual, and the carpet was not the type of mass-produced carpeting found in factories. As police continued to investigate, William remained free, traveling back and forth between his workplace and his mother's home in Oklahoma, connected by Interstate 45. By July 15, 1997, 20-year-old Kelly Cox disappeared in Denton, Texas. Kelly's mother said her car was locked, so she went to a nearby gas station to make a phone call. The family discovered Kelly was missing when she failed to pick up her 1-year-old daughter from daycare that afternoon. The family was certain Kelly had been kidnapped, but without a body or clear evidence, the case was at a standstill. On July 26, 1997, just 11 days after Kelly's disappearance, 19-year-old Tiffany Johnston went missing from a car wash in Bethany, Oklahoma, leaving her car with all her belongings inside. No one at the car wash reported anything unusual. The next day, Tiffany's body was found in tall grass beside a dirt road near the interstate, 15 miles from the car wash. She had been strangled, sexually assaulted, and had ligature marks on her wrists along with bruises on her face. Police found the attacker's DNA on Tiffany's body, but they could not establish a DNA profile. Just 3 weeks later in Lamarck, Texas, 17-year-old Jessica Kane went missing. The teenager was last seen on August 17, 1997, leaving a restaurant. Jessica's car was found abandoned along the highway, about 6 miles from her home. The search lasted for months without any results. In October 1997, while exchanging information about missing women's cases between Texas cities, the police took note of a story involving a surviving victim from 5 months earlier. On May 16, 1997, 19-year-old Sandra Sapor stopped her car in front of a convenience store near the interstate in Webster, Texas. She noticed a strange man staring at her from the parking lot. He followed Sandra, told her that her tire was flat, and offered to help. However, shortly after, he used a knife to force Sandra into his white pickup truck, sexually assaulted her, and drove her onto the highway. Believing she was about to be killed, Sandra opened the door, jumped out of the moving vehicle, and hit the sidewalk. She was badly injured but managed to get up, run for help, and report the incident. Police noticed the truck Sandra described resembled the one owned by William Reese, which had been searched in the Laura case. On October 16, 1997, Sandra identified William as the man who had abducted and assaulted her. William was immediately arrested on charges of kidnapping. Investigators were determined to link him to Laura's murder, but prosecutors argued there was not enough evidence to charge him. The police continued to examine William's records to track his movements and discovered he might be linked to other unsolved cases. He had paid for fuel in Denton on July 15th, the same location and date when Kelly went missing. William used a payphone in the town where Tiffany's body was found, less than an hour after she disappeared. The car wash owner identified William as a regular customer after seeing his picture. The police also kept an eye on William in connection with Jessica's disappearance and used a bulldozer to search for evidence at the horse ranch where he had worked, but they found nothing. In April 1998, William was put on trial for the kidnapping of Sandra. The jury found him guilty and sentenced him to 60 years in prison. However, the murders of Laura and Tiffany remained unsolved. In 2012, the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation, OSBI, reopened the Tiffany case. A criminologist used 2 DNA samples left on Tiffany's body to develop an incomplete male profile, which was cross-referenced with suspect profiles. One by one, they were excluded. But when it came to William, the match was confirmed. The prosecutor in Oklahoma believed this was enough to charge William with Tiffany's murder. While in prison in Texas, William unexpectedly agreed to talk about the 3 cases in exchange for authorities removing the death penalty from his sentence. In February 2016, William led police to a remote field south of Friendswood, claiming it was where he buried Kelly's body. However, he did not make any confessions. The police spent several days and nights with William, both in prison and at the scene, searching for Kelly's body. During this time, William stated that he had met Kelly at a gas station parking lot in Denton. He bumped into her, and an argument ensued, with Kelly spilling soda on him. He cursed at her, struck her, and then strangled her when she fought back. William admitted to killing Kelly, but investigators were unsure whether his story was true. They found no evidence of Kelly in the field. Soon after, William told the investigators that he hit Laura while driving to work on a rainy morning. Initially, he said she died instantly after being thrown into a ditch. Then he changed his story, claiming he accidentally broke Laura's neck while trying to stop her from crying. Mary Ellen O'Toole, a former FBI criminal profiler, stated that the police employed psychological tactics to make William confess one by one. What is the worst thing for someone who thrives on excitement, challenges, and stimulation? You put them in an environment like prison, where they feel bored. The investigators realized that, so when you give them a chance to get out and assist law enforcement, they will seize that opportunity, Mary analyzed. Once the police got him talking, William seemed unwilling to stop. Mary suggested that he was probably enjoying the attention. After a week of unsuccessful searching for Kelly, William offered to help the police find another victim, Jessica. He said he had buried her in a different field closer to Friendswood. Although there was no agreement with the prosecutors in this case, he began to tell the story of the argument with Jessica outside the restaurant, her chasing him on the highway, when he pulled over, and the two began arguing, which ended with him strangling her. Although he admitted to killing 3 victims in Texas, William denied raping any of them. Finally, William spoke about the murder of Tiffany in Oklahoma. He said he met her at the car wash, accidentally sprayed her with water, which led to an argument. Knowing the police had DNA evidence, William confessed to forcing himself on Tiffany and strangling her when she resisted. In March 2016, after 25 days of digging and with William's guidance, the police found Jessica's body. 2 weeks later, Kelly's body was found. At the trial for the murder of Tiffany in Oklahoma in May 2021, William did not plead guilty, despite the prosecutor having DNA evidence and recorded confessions. Despite the defense attorney's objections, the judge decided to allow the jury to watch videos of all of William's confessions about the murders of the 4 victims. The prosecutor stated that the cases were related, occurring in a short time frame with the same pattern, and emphasized that the defendant only stopped when he was arrested. Sandra and the 2 women who accused William of sexual assault in 1997 testified at the trial. The prosecutor stated that this testimony was crucial to correct the one-sided stories William had told on video. The prosecutor argued that the real story was that William had set traps for his victims. Sometimes he created situations such as slashing Sandra's tire, then pretending to be a good Samaritan before seizing the opportunity to attack them. After a 9-day trial, the jury in Oklahoma found William guilty of the murder of Tiffany. In May 2021, William was sentenced to death. However, instead of being sent to death row, William made a final journey along the interstate to Texas, where he agreed to plead guilty to the murders of Laura, Kelly, and Jessica. In exchange, he received 3 life sentences for the 3 Texas cases. William is currently still incarcerated in a Texas prison. What do you think about today's case? Please leave your comments below so we can discuss it together. Don't forget to support us with a like and subscribe to the channel to motivate our team to bring more dramatic cases. And that concludes today's case. Thank you, dear viewers, for watching. Goodbye, and see you next time.